Good morning. Yes.
Good morning.
Thank you. So to introduce ourselves, I'm Karen Tuxen-Bettman, and I'm a program manager on the Google Earth Outreach team.
And I'm Michael. I am a developer relations engineer on the Earth Engine team.
And we're going to be your MCs for the next 3 days, so get used to us here up on stage, moving things along so you guys can experience the whole 3 days. If you're watching live right now, welcome online. Welcome, everyone. There's a bunch of people watching online, and there are over 300 people here in the audience in person. Welcome. Woo! It's been a long 3 years. We missed you guys. We missed you guys out there still watching online. So it's really nice to be here in person together.
3 long years. And we have 3 full days for everybody. So we're excited to get started. First up, we'd like to introduce our director, the keynote speaker for the summit, our Geo for Good director, Rebecca Moore. Rebecca directs Google's geospatial initiatives across environmental and social impact. And that includes the Google Earth team, the Google Earth Engine team, Environmental Insights Explorer, and the Outreach team.
Yeah, great. But before she comes out, we're going to give you guys a little treat to warm everybody up. So please enjoy. Roll the video.
My favorite thing about the Geo for Good community is the insatiable curiosity and genuine desire to make the world a better place.
The genuine passion to work on problems that matter.
The combination of find solution and sharing knowledge for the world's most pressing problems.
It presents the biggest learning network that you can join.
We truly believe in what we are doing, and we are helping each other.
We feel connected and that we feel creative.
It takes a global village to tackle climate change.
To stop deforestation, to understand how much water is being used on Earth by soils and vegetation.
To support indigenous people's rights.
To protect our river.
But luckily, we have this community.
We're using Google Earth Engine to better understand urban areas and make cities greener and more equitable places to live.
We're using Google Earth Engine to map evapotranspiration at the field scale since the onset of satellite imagery.
We used Google My Maps to recreate the Kansas River access map. We believe that when people can find a way to connect to the place, that they'll want to help you protect it.
We've been using Earth Engine since 2012 to monitor the Brazilian Amazon with satellite imagery to build large-scale solutions to environmental crises as global warming.
We're using Google Earth Pro and Web to recognize, protect, and celebrate indigenous people's territories and cultural landscapes.
We're using Google Earth Engine apps across the Caribbean to assess blue carbon storage potential of mangroves and seagrass, track marine protection, and guide climate adaptation efforts.
We are using Google Earth Engine, and Google My Map to help monitoring the Aceh forest, especially the looser ecosystem, and visualize spatial data.
We are using Google Earth Engine to help people discover the power of Earth observation data.
We are using Google Earth Engine to help restoration practitioners on the ground have easier access to scientific data.
When I'm with my Geo for Good community, I feel inspired.
I feel energized.
Empowered.
Extremely motivated.
I feel optimistic.
When I'm with my Geo for Good community, I meet friends from all over the world.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this together.
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 Let's do it together.
That's you guys. So welcome to the biggest Geo for Good we have ever had. And can I just say, my team and I have really, really missed you guys. So I have to ask, did you maybe miss us a little bit? I'm just curious, and by the way, as I think you've heard, We have 300 people here. We have 2,000 people coming in over live stream. So hello and welcome to our live stream friends. This is the most inclusive, I think, event that we've ever had. You know, we learned a lot from the pandemic. We got good at doing the, the digital experience. So now we're trying to have the best of with this, and so we're really open to your feedback, by the way, because every Geo for Good is different. We always try to reinvent it and make it better. I do want to acknowledge at the beginning that we are on this Bayview campus, and this area in general is the traditional lands of the Ohlone people. So I want to acknowledge that. I love this. This is you, coming from all over the world. The green lines are the folks that are coming here in person. Every continent except we didn't manage to get anyone from the McMurdo Station in Antarctica. And then the blue, and this is from a few days ago, so I think there's many more because people have been registering since then, are the people that are coming in over live stream. So it's an amazing, amazing community, and we do have events set up, spaces for the folks coming in virtually. They can participate in Q&A. There's a meeting space and so on. So let's really try to make it feel like all of these folks are able to network. So I think this is not a news flash, but we're hitting planetary tipping points right now. And I think many of us in this room, many of us tuning in, are working in this area. Last year, the Amazon rainforest, the largest carbon removal forest in the world, became a net emitter for the first time. This is not entirely surprising, given the massive amounts of deforestation that have been going on in the Amazon and other tropical forests. I attended COP26, and it was kind of a tale of two cities. I don't know, how many of you, were any of you at COP26? No, you were home working and really actually trying to get stuff done. Okay. Because, again, a lot of it is, a lot of talk, and it was very clear that while there were ambitious commitments that were made in those rooms, and it was good to see that, everyone has acknowledged that the time for talk is past. We have to turn rhetoric to reality, or as Greta Thunberg famously said, blah, blah, blah. It's time to get to work. This is the decade of action. We need to translate commitments into implementation that can be transparent, that can be tracked, if we really want to tackle and make progress against the climate crisis, not to mention biodiversity and other related crises. So I think many of you are familiar. This is the core portfolio that our Geo for Good team has assembled over really actually more than 15 years that are uniquely powerful at assisting in making progress against many of these global and humanitarian challenges. We've got Google Earth, Earth Engine, Earth Studio, My Maps, and Environmental Insight Explorer, which is a little bit newer. You're going to learn about all of those products and updates to them. For those of you who are familiar with them, don't worry, you're going to learn some new stuff because my team uses this event. This is the flagship event of the year for us to engage with you all. This is sort of the forcing function for us to get some stuff out of the oven and ready to share with you and get your reaction. There's some common themes that we've learned from you that are important in these products, and I thought it would be helpful to reflect back. You want them to be flexible and powerful. You want them to be accurate and up to date. You want them to be easy to use and accessible, easily accessible. For example, Google Earth is in 55 languages. You want to enable sharing and collaboration. That one feature in Earth Engine that lets you share your workspace with someone else with just a URL has turned out to be incredibly powerful for scientists to collaborate. You want it to be interoperable across our products, but also with the larger ecosystem, including open source. And it needs to be trustworthy and reliable and verifiable if you're going to count on this data, these tools for mission-critical work. So we take that very seriously. So you guys, we see ourselves together with you as, this is kind of our mission together, is catalyzing positive environmental and humanitarian progress and impact at global scale. In the past, we have sometimes been more eclectic or more agnostic, maybe is a good word, about how the tools were applied, as long as it was good. It's like, that's fantastic. And that is still true. These are general purpose tools and platforms and data sets that we're thrilled for you to use, again, on any of these positive projects. But just to mention that we are becoming increasingly opinionated ourselves on what are the areas we want to focus on and see if we can accelerate progress and help the world and help our partners accelerate progress. And these are in the areas of climate action, right? Carbon emission reduction, carbon removal, climate risk resilience and adaptation, and then the whole area of sustainable natural resource management. Critical geospatial data and tools are fantastically useful. So forests, fisheries, water resources, sustainable agriculture, regenerative agriculture, biodiversity, conservation, and so on there. And then this general area of map making for good, sort of democratizing the ability for anyone to make a map, to lower the barriers for remote sensing and data science on Earth observation data. So as we go forward, just to give you a look ahead, next year and the year beyond, we're really trying to think about goals around, can we in the community set a target for a gigaton of carbon emission reduction, or meaningful participation in the 30 by 2030 plan. So love to talk with you guys on the sidelines of this event on areas where you think we could bring the community together and have some small set of North Stars that we all work against. All right, so have to have a cartoon globe. I don't know why, it's just cute. But I think of this as the pizza globe. We realize that, in the beginning, for example, with Earth Engine, we focused on helping scientists and accelerating and turbocharging, Earth observation data science. And then the challenge was, okay, can we accelerate getting those new algorithms, those new methods out of the laboratory and into practice, into implementation, into application. And then now we're working much more with governments and private sectors. So I thought it might be helpful. Later on, today and coming days, you're going to hear about a product focus. But for this morning, I wanted to give you kind of our view on some cool impacts that have happened in these different sectors, all of which are, in many cases, required to achieve change. So in terms of science, there was a neat recent result. Scientists with the Nature Conservancy and Pacific Northwest Lab used Earth Engine, and they found that poor neighborhoods in California have 5.9% less tree cover and 1.7 degrees Celsius higher summer surface urban heat island intensity than affluent neighborhoods. And then they built a tool, so again, science into practice, to help policymakers implement nature-based solutions that positively impact this while also bringing co-benefits to low-income and frontline communities. So there's an app, there's a paper we encourage you to check out. You're going to hear more about this. TC, one of the authors, is giving a lightning talk. And we wanted to bring this one up because TC and Tanu from Nature Conservancy met at Geo for Good 2019. And that's where they cooked up the idea that has resulted in this paper and this application and this important result. So networking is a very big reason. One of the bigger reasons people say they love coming to Geo for Good is all the people you will meet. So take every opportunity, like don't go off and do your email all the time. Take the opportunity to just meet people. It will be worth it. OpenET had launched just before our Geo for Good last year, but we're really seeing it become more and more important now with the persistent drought in the American West, drought in many parts of the world. Well, meanwhile, there's flooding in other parts of the world. But OpenET is an amazing scientific effort that brings together the best science for monitoring and measuring evapotranspiration, essentially agricultural consumption of water. Gives you a way of estimating groundwater change. It's a collaboration with NASA, with EDF, Desert Research Institute, powered by Earth Engine. And one reason I think it's interesting, so we're looking here at literally plot level, field level data that is updated continuously. You pick a plot and you get statistics. And one reason I wanted to share it is, if you look on the right, there are 6 different, really the top 6 leading algorithms for evapotranspiration in the world, all ported to Earth Engine. They all have come together under this OpenET, and you can do an ensemble of all of them together. And it's turning out that the scientists really love being able to compare apples to apples and learn where their methods agree, where they disagree. And it's accelerating the advancement of this type of methodology. So it's a practice I hope we see more of in other areas. We've been busy also on the science side. I'm just curious, how many of you have heard of Dynamic World? Yeah, right. Yeah, we're kind of proud. A great collaboration with World Resources Institute, who came up with the taxonomy for the 9 land cover classes. It's a global, near real-time data set for land use, land cover. It's not just a single classification of each pixel. It is a 9-class probability, which gives you very rich data and opens up all kinds of new applications. The fact that it is updated every day on something like 5,000 Sentinel-2 scenes coming in every day, and we have a immediate land cover classification, means people are able to do intra-annual comparison. For example, oh wow, there's 2 crops annually on this one field, for example. Anyway, we published the paper in Nature Scientific Data in June. We made the AI model free, the training data free. It's all openly available. And we're seeing really a lot of excitement. Like, I was glad to hear the reaction in this room of people jumping on it to see what they can learn about our changing planet. Meanwhile, recently, World Economic Forum just came out with this paper about using spatial intelligence for business action. And it was noteworthy because often, in the past, Earth observation has been somewhat wonky. Remote sensing, what's that? But now you have the World Economic Forum saying it's really important that we prioritize spatial intelligence from Earth observation and in situ field sensors to enable and accelerate action by businesses making pledges on nature and climate. It's very important to bring spatial intelligence in. So I think it's a very fertile time for innovation in this space, and we're in the heart of it together. The paper on the right just came out recently. It is based on Dynamic World, which just came out in June. So, and it is looking at ecological risk factors associated with different land cover change. So it's good to see the speed of innovation here happening relatively quickly. All right, so that was a whirlwind on science academia. Another pizza slice, nonprofits and civil society. So you're going to hear from Rocio Palacios, I apologize if I didn't pronounce your name correctly, of the Alianza Gato Andina, which is the Andean Cat Alliance. They work to protect the Andean cat, which is the most endangered species in the Americas. And they use Google Earth with its high resolution, virtual digital globe, probably the best digital twin of the planet that has ever been made freely available to the public that you can annotate and share. They use that to map and design all of their field interventions. And Rocio is going to speak about this later this afternoon. Some of you are probably familiar with this paper that came out in Science that was the first global Landsat scale map of forest restoration potential. And it determined, and there's controversy as there always is in science, but that there was enough land available for forest restoration that could reduce atmospheric carbon by 25%. And this has led now to a fantastic application called Project Restore. I wanted to share this. It launched, I think, last year, but this is a global system for managing and planning and managing tree or forest restoration projects. It's really well done, powered by Earth Engine. You can see they're already up to more than 100,000 projects on the ground. Because again, there are lots and lots of tree planting projects. Many of them fail because they're not planting the right tree in the right place at the right time and taking care of it in the right way. So this system is really focused on solving those issues. And it brings in a carbon lens, and you can estimate tons of carbon associated with these plots. It also gives you information about biodiversity indicators associated with this. So I really encourage checking it out. I view it as a really a kind of best-in-class example of an application one can build powered on our platforms. Science-based. All right, local communities, indigenous people, again, because our tools, particularly things like Google Earth and My Maps, are so easy to use, they are very, very empowering to local communities. This was an exciting result that just happened. The quilombolas, for the first time, are included as a category of people in the Brazilian census. The quilombolas are descendants of formerly enslaved Black people. And they have been absent from the Brazilian census. But through a lot of really persistent work with training them on these mapping tools, having them go do door-to-door surveys, or in some cases by boat, because they tend to be riverine people, they collected sufficient data, put themselves on the map, brought themselves to the attention of the government, and now they essentially could not be denied as an important category of people to be counted. So I really think that's a very nice example. Have any of you seen The Territory? Okay. Amazing film. Won 2 awards at Sundance. It is about the Uruauau people in the Amazon who are struggling against illegal invasion of their land. And they are using Google Earth, first of all, to communicate and advocate and track and manage data associated with the invasions of their land. They're spinning up an impact program now, and we're looking to do more to help them because we see that their issues are very representative of many communities. The drought severity evaluation tool, you're going to learn more about this in this afternoon's plenary. Nikki Tully is going to speak about this web-based platform that's designed to allow water managers to monitor drought conditions and mitigate issues of water availability within the Navajo Nation, which is a 70,000 square kilometer area, about 1,000 kilometers to the east of where we are now. Extra credit if you can point east. You're all geospatial people. You should be able to do that. Oh, they're thinking. Okay. Maybe there'll be a short quiz at the end. Which way is east? And this was developed in collaboration of Navajo Nation, NASA, and an organization called Climate Engine. So Nikki's been the bridge among these organizations, and she's brought in indigenous knowledge, and she's also brought the training back to members of Navajo Nation. So looking forward to that talk. All right, many of you have probably heard of Global Fishing Watch, an incredible transparency tool for fishing, particularly on the high seas, where there has traditionally been a lack of information about what's been going on. I'm not going to talk a lot about Global Fishing Watch, except to say that it's been amazingly successful at bringing transparency, and the data that it is producing has been used for enforcement. It's been used to create, I think, 11 marine protected areas. It's being used by a number of governments. And a lot of findings are coming from this data. The reason I wanted to share it is, in particular, when you have data like this and you make it available, and I think there's a video that we could tee up, that is the New York Times using this data from Global Fishing Watch. This just came out. The interactive team at the New York Times is amazing at taking data, but in this case, spatio-temporal data, and creating a story around it. And it's actually an investigative piece that is revealing findings from the data and communicating them in a very, very compelling way. So I encourage checking that out. That just came out. I do view journalists as part of this civil society group playing a very important role, and we are seeing journalist organizations increasingly sophisticated at working with spatial data, with doing data science, and so on. All right, governments and public sector. We'll start with cities. You may know that we did launch a tool, Environmental Insights Explorer, to bring high-quality insights about transportation emissions, building emissions, rooftop solar potential derived from our Google Maps data, bringing that to cities worldwide to help accelerate their climate action plans. We launched in the first 5 cities in 2018. We've now scaled the data to over 40,000 cities, building emissions data for 13,000 cities. The C40 organization evaluated our transportation data and said it's the gold standard that they recommend all cities use. We had an Achilles heel, though, which was when we first launched, we launched in the US. As we continued to launch, we were much stronger in the global north than the global south, partly a function of the data we had, partly a function of not having enough understanding of local context. But I'm really happy that we really focused on that over the past year, and we've just launched, or a number of cities in India have now used the tool to create climate action plans. Here's one Aurangabad in India that has been using it. In Indonesia, when you go to Environmental Insights Explorer, the blue cities are ones that have logged in, they have authoritative, it has to be an authoritative representative of that city or that region. They've claimed it, they've evaluated it, and they've agreed that we can publish it to the public. And we've got a whole swath of our first cities in Indonesia that have just done that. So very, very pleased to see this. So that's city level. Here's one example at the country level. The United States Forest Service has developed the Landscape Change Monitoring System, LCMS, to easily and quickly gather forest health information for all of the national forests across the US. Here we're looking at forest loss and gain in western Montana. The red is forest loss. That was a big fire, and then the blue is forest recovering. And they compile this into plans and reports that guide management of these forests at local, regional, and national levels. At the global level, fantastic project with European Commission Joint Research Center and UN Environment Program and it started with a scientific result powered by Earth Engine. It was the largest analysis at the time. Global surface water change over 32 years at Landsat resolution, and then putting that data into the hands of countries, processed into the data that is required for the SDG 661 water indicator, which has to do with freshwater ecosystem health. And until this was available to all the countries, 80% of the countries did not have the data for this SDG. And now 190 countries are using this data for their reporting, and more importantly, even it gives you more local watershed information. They're using it for water management decisions. Now, companies in private sector, which is a newer area for us. You may have seen earlier this year in June, we launched Earth Engine for commercial access by the private sector and public sector. And that was a multi-year journey to create an enterprise-grade platform for those users, those customers. And we're now seeing a whole ecosystem, and I tuck this thought in for you, of organizations, scientific, science-based organizations that are now developing capabilities to serve these new markets and these new opportunities with, is particularly in the sustainability space. Climate Engine is a great example of this. Justin Huntington is their science officer, and he started on the research side and has now built up this company that is providing a set of services for these private companies who need a lot of help. This is one of the first tools that Climate Engine helped a private company build, and this is Offcast. SC Johnson makes Off, and they wanted to be able to have a mosquito forecast, both for convenience in the US, but now that they're spreading globally, it is a public health concern, obviously, because mosquitoes are hatching in different places at different times due to climate change. So being able to have a very precise forecast is important for human health. But yeah, you enter your zip code and you get a forecast. Unilever is a real leader in the commodity space and taking a pledge for zero deforestation due to their supply chain, and they need the data and tools to meet that commitment. This is an example of a palm oil, essentially like a palm shed analysis built using Earth Engine for Unilever and to support the sourcing of deforestation-free palm. And now NGIS has built a tool called Tracemark on Earth Engine, powered by Earth Engine and Cloud, that is bringing traceability to Unilever and to other commodities companies. And there's a whole set of capabilities in Tracemark. It's early days, but I'm excited about these because if you think about how do we change how we live on this planet, we need to help businesses change how they operate. We need to help governments have better information so they can govern better. And this is a moment where Earth observation and geospatial analytics, geospatial data science can really help these sectors. There is a coalition that's now come together across UNFAO, WRI, Unilever, Google, NASA, NASA Surveyor to break down barriers that have historically existed about data in the commodity sourcing space. Companies have kept information about, for example, their suppliers, their mills, and so on, very secret. And now there's a willingness to make this data open and use this to strengthen the ability for all of these companies to meet these commitments. So sort of wrapping up here, here's our pizza. You may be like in more than one slice. I feel like I'm in more than one slice. And as we have been working with different organizations, we've really now begun to feel like there's something happening where we are all coming together. And how powerful it can be when we do that. I think of it as kind of hokey, but a global community watch program, right? There's no one of us, there's no one set of us that can do what needs to be done to address the challenges we face. We can't do it alone. And this community has shown how fantastic you are at building bridges across from academia to NGO, to government, to private sector, so on, to create the change we need to see. So I want to just end here with just a look back at the first Geo for Good, 2012. By the way, if you attended any of these, please raise your hand. Like, was anyone at, all right, prize. 2013, small group, but you can see the community's growing, growing, growing. I think 2018 was our first we got a big Google space like this. 2019 was the biggest one yet, and then we had our 2 pandemic years. But you guys still kept working, we still kept building stuff and creating impact. But again, I just think of what we can do together, as you heard in the community video, is what gets us excited to come into work every day. So with that, a reminder, here's us for these 3 days, virtually and in person. I like to say eat your Wheaties because it's a very stimulating time, and really take advantage of every opportunity in the office hours and everything, the unconference and so on. Stop any Googler in the hallway and pester us with questions because we're here to make this a great experience for everyone. Okay, so with that, I'm going to wish you a great summit, and I will say that we are going to have, I guess, Raleigh's coming on next. Actually, help me, Raleigh. I think Raleigh, yes, Raleigh will be coming on, but we're going to cut the live stream because it's basically administrivia, not relevant for people that are coming in remotely, but relevant for those of you here. So Raleigh will be coming up. And then the live stream will restart again roughly on the hour when the product talks begin. Okay. Have a great summit. Thank you all for being here.